Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. Welcome back to my channel. This is Poonam Avasthi, your SST teacher. Students, today we are going to begin History Chapter 11, the National Movement First Phase. We are going to cover this chapter in two parts. So for today's part, please refer page number 79 to 82. At the end of the video, you will be getting a small home task. Do that positively, and in case of any further doubt, feel free to write in the comment section or you can ask your doubts in the upcoming online class. So let's begin the chapter. Welcome all of you in Social Studies class. Today we will discuss about chapter 11, the National Movement First Phase. Students, we study our national movement in various parts. This chapter is about first phase. We will cover this part, first phase, in two different parts. Please refer page number 78 to 82 for this part. In this part, we will explore about the factors that contributed to the rise of nationalism in India and associations which had contributed into this. Students, we will also study moderate and radical phase of Indian national movement. So let's begin. The second half of the 19th century led to a political awakening among the people. There was a growth of national consciousness and a new kind of movement took shape, which was led by the Indian National Congress, INC. It soon became a mass struggle for independence. The strengthening of a common national identity gave rise to an organized national movement in India. This national movement represented the aspirations, dreams of the Indian people as a whole. People started looking beyond their regional boundaries and thought of India as a single nation and themselves as a part of this nation. With this growing sense of unity came the feeling of nationalism. Now, let's explore about the factors that contributed to the rise of nationalism in India. As we have seen in the previous chapters of history, that there was a discontent against the British rule. All the sections of society suffered under the British rule. The peasants had to pay high taxes. The artisans were ruined by foreign competition. The factory workers received very low wages, and the British made no attempt to encourage Indian agriculture and industry. The British government treated India just as a source of raw material. Employment opportunities for educated Indians were very limited. And students, on the top of everything, the attitude of superiority adopted by the British was also disliked by Indians. All these factors resulted in growing opposition to the British rule. Due to this, unification of the country began. People, with the help of developing railways, telegraph and postal system, soon came in contact with one another and realized that the British rule was responsible for all their sufferings, and this anti-British feeling was a major reason that contributed to the rise of nationalism. Now students, understand the reasons why did the British introduce modern education in India. So, the British had introduced modern Western education to prepare some Indians to work at low posts in the administration. The British also believed that if Indians were exposed to Western thoughts and ideas, they would become supporters of British rule of India. The British expected that educated Indians would be dependent on them for employment and they would always remain loyal to them. But opposite to this British expectation, exposure to Western ideas made Indian people more conscious of their rights, and they were really impressed by the ideas of freedom and equality. Indians began to criticize the government for suppressing these ideas in India and denying basic human rights to the Indians. The Indian press also played an important role into this. The newspapers of the period highlighted the anti-Indian policies of the British government and asked the people to unite and work for a common cause. Both the English and the vernacular, means local language press, became a medium to mobilize public opinion and create a feeling of national bonding. The British government tried to suppress the growing feeling of nationalism and patriotism by banning newspapers and books, but they failed. The works of scholars and writers, their nationalist literature in the form of fiction, essays, and patriotic poetry developed self-confidence in the masses to come in front and fight. Students, there were another factors also that contributed to the rise of nationalism in India. Lord Lytton and his policies intensified discontent against the British rule in India. He removed import duties on British goods, which ruined the textile industry of India. And then the Vernacular Press Act 1878. It imposed restrictions on vernacular newspapers. The Arms Act of 1878. It prohibited Indians from possessing arms. Both these acts led to strong reactions from all sections of the society. And then came Ilbit Bill controversy 1883. Lord Ripon introduced a bill which came to be known as the Ilbit Bill because it was drafted by Ilbit. The objective of the bill was to give power to Indian judges and magistrates to try British offenders in criminal cases at the district level. But students, this bill was opposed by the whole European community, and this forced the British government to withdraw this bill. But for the Indians, it was a proof that Indians could never expect equality from the British government, yes or no? Now students, take a brief of political associations. After the 1850s, Indians began to form political associations to work for their own welfare. The British Indian Association, which is formed by Surendranath Banerjee in 1851. In 1852, the Bombay Association and the Madras Native Association were set up. During 1870 and 1880s, many associations were set up. The Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, the Indian Association, the Madras Mahajan Sabha, and very famous the Bombay Presidency Association. Students, I would like to add here that all the associations formed were limited in both membership and agenda. Most of their members were educated Indians belonging to the upper sections of society. They sent petitions, request the government to reduce taxes and discriminatory practices, introduce administrative reforms, and give Indians a greater role in administration. But what happened? Their petitions were ignored by the British government. The activities of these associations were also restricted to the specific regions. So, the need for an All India Association, which was mass-based and strong in putting up its demands, had been felt for a long time. So, as we have seen, there was a great need for an All India Association. One such organization formed by A.O. Hume in 1885, the Indian National Congress. A.O. Hume wanted to create an association which would be under the supervision of the British and which would let the government know the demands of the Indian people. He wanted to prevent another nationwide outbreak like the one that took place in 1857. So he supported this organization, the Indian National Congress. In the early years, the main aims of the Congress were to bring together leaders from all parts of the country to discuss problems related to India and to form an action plan to get concessions from the British. So students, this was just a brief of Indian National Congress. Now understand the moderate phase. During the first 20 years of the Congress, moderates dominated the party. Surendranath Banerjee, Firoz Shah Mehta and Gopal Krishna Gokhale, they were some important moderate leaders. They were moderate in their aims and methods. It means they believed in constitutional methods. And students, moderates followed the policy of 3 P's. What is this? Petition, prayer and protests. They followed this policy, and so they regularly sent petitions and resolutions to the government asking and requesting for freedom of speech and expression, expansion of welfare programs, promoting education, recruitment of Indians to high posts in the administration, and more powers for the legislative councils and more Indian members in these councils, holding the civil services examination in India and not just only in England, change in the economic policies of the government so as to benefit Indian industries, a cut in military expenditure and stopping the drain of India's wealth to Britain. Students, all of these petitions were sent to the government. But what was the reaction of the British? In early years, British were favorably inclined towards the Congress, but soon the British began to criticize the Congress, and then this failure of the moderates brought new trend in the Congress, and that was the new group of leaders. They were called radicals. It was led by Lal, Bal and Pal, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Bipin Chandra Pal, Bipin Chandra Pal. They were popularly known as Lal, Bal and Pal. These leaders felt that the present ways of the Congress were ineffective. They were in favor of more radical objectives and methods. So students, what they called for? They called for strong political actions such as strikes, boycotts, boycott of British institutions and goods, and mass demonstrations to spread awakening among the people to achieve the political reforms. For this, Bal Gangadhar Tilak called for the attainment of Swaraj. He declared, "Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it." So students, this is it in this part of the national movement first phase. The rest part of this first phase we will do in the next video. Now students, based on this, please have a look to the home task. Do it properly in notebook, and yes, in case of any further doubt, feel free to write your queries in the comment section or ask your queries in the upcoming online class. And my dear students, don't forget to like and share the video. Thank you so much for watching. Keep watching, keep learning.